All right, it's your boy Zubaz coming back at you. I was trying to decide, how am I going to start the conversation today? Should I talk about mass shootings or the war in Ukraine, race relations, the impending overturn of Roe v. Wade? And then I was like, I don't need to talk about any of that shit because we're just here for the baseball, people. And I like that. And I've always been at CSFBL just for the baseball, people. I started playing in like 2004, literally when I was unemployed, alcoholic, living with my mother in 2010. I was playing CSFBL because it was free. Always will be free. No, you heard me say it 100 times. Going to say it 101. And then when I got a little bit of money from the sale of On It to Unilever, I knew I didn't have change the world money, so I couldn't fix any of those things that I started this with. But I knew there was one thing I could fix, and that was the world of CSFBL, and help Brian bring the game and the community into a new age. So because it's been with me for my entire multiple journeys, and it's really important to me that it's here for a long time to come. And the promises I made, I already hinted at one, that the game will always be the base game will always be free, and that it's going to be centered around league creators, where there is a proverbial button or knob for everything, so that league creators can make as many things happen automatically, so they're not doing it in the background as possible. Give people a bunch of options, whether it's the era that their league is playing baseball in, how they play, what the rules are, how they draft, what players they use, etc., and make all that optional. And when I got involved back whenever I announced it, September, something like that, and then when I gave my last announcement in January, it was clear that my thinking was evolving as to how we attack that. And it became clear that this was going to be a heavier lift than I may have originally realized, because, you think about the original game was written in ASP Classic, which I don't think is even supported anymore. It's 20 years old. So whenever you have 20-year-old coding, you're going to have cobwebs and things that have been pieced or patched together over time. You're going to have legacy code that might not work the same as it used to. And that's certainly the case with CSFBL, and is deserving of a full rewrite. And so that became the major thing that we were going to work on this year. And I literally this week am investing a larger chunk of money into CSFBL to make sure that even through these trying times externally, that CSFBL is fully funded for the short, medium, and long term, so that we can continue on with development. And last time I talked to you, I think Brian was still the only developer, and now we have three developers that are getting paid to work on CSFBL. I mean, what a dream, right? Like, there was a time that we were just hoping to get Brian working on the game full time, and now we have 3 developers that are working on it. It's an amazing time. And but now we're getting to that point where there is going to be a little bit of pain. And so that's why I'm coming to you today, because in the excitement, it also means that there's going to be change. And for a lot of us, myself included, there hasn't been a lot of change over a long period of time. So change inevitably for everybody is going to be difficult, but it's going to be so damn worth it. So I just need you to bounce with me for a second, because with a rewrite of the game, the one domino that comes before rolling out a rewrite, which can take half a year, is the worst thing you can do is rewrite mistakes. And so there are things that we're working on right now that are going to come out in this next release that you're going to get a lot more information on from Brian in the release notes. I know that Clone is going to put out some more accessible information on exactly what's all in it. You're going to be hearing from us in a variety of ways to make this as smooth as possible. But there's a lot of things in the game we all know that either didn't work right, etc. The one I like to use it as an example, because I think it's really obvious to any of us that have used like the low minor position change tool. So it doesn't really look like anything else. You could tell it was kind of like added on because we needed it, but at the same time it didn't really match up with what we would want to do if we were writing it from scratch, right? And there's a lot of things in the game like that. Like, I also bring up scouting, because while scouting itself may seem like a small thing, it goes into everything from allocations, development and drills, which goes into player salary, their attributes in general, the aging process. Like, everything becomes connected. And over the years, there's been a little tweak here, a little tweak there, and the whole thing became a bit unbalanced. I equate it to like when you're going too fast for too long, you start getting those speed wobbles. The game wobbles a little bit, and so we need to fix some of those things and make some convenient upgrades while we're doing that, so that when we recode it into the new game, it's all fresh and beautiful. And so this, what you're about to experience, is the biggest update that I think has ever been released for CSFBL, past the original iterations of it, which I'm incredibly excited about, because the game is like a full like V 2.0 compared to where it was. But that also means there's a lot that's different. And so that's where I call it pain, but I hope everybody sees it like what it actually is. It's like, this is what we've all been hoping for a long time, is a way to make the game easier to understand initially, but deeper and more complex for those of us that have played for years and years. And this is just the first iterative piece to that. I can promise you, if there's anything that you see that you think would be easy builds or add-ons, most of that is likely being worked on, but please keep giving us the feedback. This is just to get table stakes so that we can use this as a model for the rebuild, so that we can create a new, updated, scalable version of CSFBL without losing any of the core magic of what CSFBL is in the process. I think there's in the release notes, you're going to see there is dozens of small and medium changes. I think the one that people are going to notice first, and probably have the biggest difficulty adjusting to, is lettered potentials as opposed to numbers. There's a lot of reasons we needed to do that. The biggest one is to later on fulfill that promise of letting league creators create a league as they see fit, because letters are much more flexible to everything from doing bell curved players based on the talent that's in the league. It's more cleanly transferable to different eras, like steroid era versus dead ball. 84 slugging means totally something different, but you can have more control of the letters, both on a game level, but also on a league level, than you could with numbers. But also, just because the numbers didn't make any sense. The number one complaint that when we did the survey about scouting was that it was just so on the nose. Like, if you understood how the ratings interacted with each other, you knew exactly what your player was going to be or what he could be. And that's kind of stupid when you think about it. That is definitely not how any sport or really game works. There wasn't as much nuance about it. Now, some of that was just because of the allocations and scouting, and some was because of how it was built. So I had to take a fresh look at the whole thing. So I know I'm coming up on 10 minutes, and I've been told recently I tend to talk a little too much. So I'm going to try not to do that. But I do want you all to go into this with an open heart and an open mind, because this is the first step in something truly amazing. The true ability for CSFBL not only to grow as a game, but to grow as a community. We need a game that we can roll out that is prettier from a UI standpoint, which will definitely happen as part of the rewrite. Not as much initially, but there are some UI enhancements. We need a game that is deep on help, both in static help pages, tutorials, mentor leagues, things like that. So that is coming. But we also need a game that's just fundamentally easier to understand on the front end, but deeper and more complex for, let's just call them aged players like myself. And so I think what we're doing begins to accomplish that, but that job's never done. And so when you see the new version, there is going to be more things to cook. Please keep giving the feedback, but please know nothing that you see is fully complete, right? Because not only are we doing a rewrite, but now we have 3 developers. It is a permanent iterative process that we are going to keep improving based on the feedback that we're getting from each of you. My thesis as a business model is that if we make this a player's first game, a player's first simulation, and we give as much power to league creators as possible, that is what's going to build these micro communities that build the macro communities. I'm convinced of it. That's the only way that this will work, because there are other baseball sims out there, and there's ones as a player that have a button and a knob for everything. But this is going to be different, because we're not just building baseball sim, we're building communities that I've been very close to over the years. I know a lot of you have as well, and that's truly important to me. And so this is a really collaborative process. I want to thank everybody that was in the test league. A lot of that feedback, and it was rough, right? Because people are really helping make the sausage. But a lot of that feedback got cooked into this. So we were trying to get feedback earlier in the development process, and we will continue to do that. And so thank you all. I'm really excited for you to see the new version. Again, not perfect, but we are on our way, and it is a lot closer to perfect than it was a couple days ago. And so it's cool. We are getting what we all hoped for. And keep giving that feedback and helping us keep growing as a game and as a community. Please, my proverbial doors always open. Hit me up on Discord or through the game or on the forums. I get all 3. And if I don't get back to you right away, apologize, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. I do read everything y'all are sending, and thanks for being a part of something that I think was already special that we can turn into something really amazing. All right, that's it. See you all soon.